then just the general media around. I saw someone say, "Oh, it's disappointing the Australian side." If you're that good, the Lions, why'd you not put them to the sword? You know, it was within 8 points. Yeah. You didn't win the second half. It wasn't that dominant of a performance. The scrum wasn't that good. We'll get into it, but like all this negative stuff. Yeah, the Wallabies not been up to scratch. As I said, we'll get into that. But like, you know, what's with all the negativeness around? It's such classic like English.
Now, before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe and turn on that bell notification so you know when we upload. Welcome back to Rugby Heads, brought to you by the Big Athletic Club, where we cover all things in the world of rugby. This past weekend, the Springboks got the job done against a spirited Georgian outfit. The All Blacks clean swept the Frenchies, and the Wallabies got stuck in first gear against the Lions in Brisbane. But we'll get into it. Joining me tonight is Alex Ironside, Justin Giddy, and the infamous Nemani Kurundrani. Welcome, boys. Welcome.
How are we? Dempsey, man. Everyone's coming after you in the comments, mate. So
yeah.
What do you?
I'm sure it'll come up in the try no tries. But before we get to that, we'll go performer of the week. Nems, kick us off. Who was your top performer of the week?
Ian Pryor. He played 10, former Reds, fourth. He played really well. Actually, got man of the match. Kicked Zimbabwe into the 2027 World Cup. So. I watched a bit of the game, and there were people crying, on the sideline. So it's good to see Zimbabwe back in the World Cup. I think last time we saw them was in 1991 when JT was just come out of the hospital.
Yeah, so great win. So they've beaten Namibia. I think Namibia's got to go a long way to try and get the repechage. Congrats to Zimbabwe. And the week before, Hong Kong made it in. So Hong Kong, China's in the Rugby World Cup too. So we know a few people from there as well. So it's going to be an awesome Rugby World Cup. Now, Alex, who was your top performer of the week? I'm
going to go with your favourite, Sione. I think Artie Savia, a real captain knock in that All Blacks game. I don't know if it was necessarily like his best game, but just I don't know if that was the it's probably the All Black B side really. When you look at it, he kind of led from the front. Yeah, I'll give it to Artie.
Yeah, he had an awesome game. And he was needed because they got tested in that first half and towards the second half as well. But JT, who was your top performer?
My top performer, I actually had three. It was a South African front row. Boan Venter, Marnus van der Merwe, and Needling Fouché. All three of them were on debut, and you don't often see that in a test match, the whole front row on debut. And the Box, they lost nothing. Those three, they competed every scrum, won a ton of penalties, got them out of trouble so many times. And Boan Venter, the loose head, he actually scored the first try for South Africa, and then the hooker Marnus van der Merwe, he got a double. So I think a lot of credit's got to go to Rassie Erasmus for showing a lot of confidence in that front row. And they're continuing just to build depth in that whole South African squad. So they're my performers of the week.
Good shout. Mate, South Africa's just scary. I'm sure we'll get into it when we get into the Georgian game. But my one was also from South Africa, Grant Williams, the scrum half. Mate, he's got competition with Faf. Everyone knows Faf de Klerk, Kobus Reinach, and then Morne Vandenberg, who is that new little young one. And, mate, Grant Williams is putting his hand up for that spot in when the Rugby Championship comes up in a few weeks. So, mate, if you didn't catch the Georgian game, make sure you go on Stan or whoever's or Sky Sports if you're in NZ, make sure you go watch that game, because I was like, it's only Georgia, but it was actually a really entertaining game. So make sure you go check that out. And let us know your top performers in the comments. But no tries, what was play on and what was offside? Nems?
My try was the British Lions supporters flooding Brisbane with red. I thought that was I got a bit of FOMO down here in Melbourne, but I thought the crowd and the supporters just looked like it was a party up there. Yeah. So we get our turn this week here in Melbourne, which is pretty good. And another try was Artie Savia wearing the French jacket. I thought that was pretty cool in the press conference.
Oh, true.
Nice. It was that was really good. But no try for me would have to be all the abuse I copped from our punters and our followers. Calm down, guys. It's just a game of rugby.
Yeah.
And I didn't really use, a strong bait. I just used a little one and a bit. So Just
Bit of whiting.
Yeah, but I was hoping for a brim, and I got a swordfish.
Yeah, a bit of context to those who missed out last week. Nems made a very bold prediction that the Eden Park Hoodoo is going to be gone because he thinks South Africa's going to do him in Eden Park this year. So, yeah, it broke the internet on multiple platforms, TikTok especially, man. You were getting haze. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, so, and I know it's a very sacred thing, Eden Park. And they haven't lost there, but I still stick by my word. So, yeah, calm down, everyone. It's just a game of rugby. Yeah. Rugby is a win at the end of the day.
Yeah, true. All right, so what's your try or no tries, if you got any?
My try, I wasn't on last week because I was recovering from the Australia-New Zealand game. But my try is that Australia-New Zealand game. Even though the game wasn't great, it was actually really cool to, for the first time in my life, be able to go to the same team on the field as my dad, combining teams. Even my uncles came over and watched. And I just think it's such a good idea and that, look, I'm not going to say the scoreline was a pretty shocking game to watch, but I think the atmosphere was awesome. Never been to Adelaide, probably never go back, but probably the right place to host it, I guess, for a game like that. I just think it's such a good idea, and I think like if we can get a few more of the bigger names picked in that side, like if Richie doesn't break his hand, playing and all that stuff, and get a few more bigger names, then I think that would be huge to watch, even for the next Lions tour that's in New Zealand. And then my second try is friend of the show, friend of the pod is Tane Edmond signing with the Brumbies. Yes. I think, it takes a lot of guts. If he's still a young guy, I think that he killed it in the ITM Cup last year. I think he probably needs something like that, a change of scenery. And I just think he's going to be a better 10 going down there and getting coached down there as well. So that's my try. My no try, the Northern Hemisphere media. If you win the line out 5 metres out from your own line and you kick the ball out and there's no bonus points and you're down by 7-8 points, why the fuck would you try and score a 90-metre try? Like Clive Woodward, mate, maybe do some reflection on your coaching of 2005 Lions tour where you got absolutely humped. That stuff, I knew as soon as we were talking about the thing, I knew as soon as he kicked it out and go, watch everyone spin this. And then just the general media around, I saw someone say, it's disappointing, the Australian side. If you're that good, the Lions, why'd you not put them to the sword? It was within 8 points. Yeah. You didn't win the second half. It wasn't that dominant of a performance. Your scrum wasn't that good. We'll get into it, but all this negative stuff. Yeah, the Wallabies not being up to scratch. As I said, we'll get into that. But what's with all the negativeness around it? Such classic English. I'm not being negative towards Australia because that would go nowhere, but just the media around it, get excited about it. It actually was a pretty good game. Yeah. And the second half showed that if the game's like that for the rest of the series, that second half, it'll be a great series to watch. So don't start saying, we're disappointed in Australia. Fuck off.
Yeah. Good. Well said, mate. That was a real big no try there from Alex. And JT, you got any try no tries?
Yeah, try, no try. My try, same as Nems, just the British and Irish Lions fans are just getting amongst it. Me, I get in and around Brisbane. I was out Thursday, Friday and Saturday, and you couldn't walk 5 or 10 metres without seeing a Lions jersey. Yeah. So credit to all those supporters that flew over. And now it's Melbourne's chance. So all those guys living in Melbourne, Nemsy, get out there for the week and enjoy it because it happens once every 12 years. It was an awesome time I had this whole week and this weekend. So I reckon just make the most of it. And just for no tries, I got 3. One is the Lions, British and Irish Lions, blocking my good mate Pete Samu from playing tomorrow for the Indigenous Pacifica team. I just thought, it was a bit of a low blow. They let him know a couple of days ago. And if you guys don't know, Pete Samu is actually from Melbourne, so he's got all his family there, all his friends. Where he grew up, it'll be a massive occasion for him, and then to have the rug pulled out under him, it's just sad to see. And I think Johnny Sexton said that it was a rule put in by the Lions and the Wallabies, RA, So it wasn't even World Rugby. So someone high up in the British Lions office can just send a message and say, you know what, it's only one player, it's all good, let him play. He played the last game in Adelaide, so it doesn't make sense. So they get my no try. My second no try goes to Rugby Australia as well. Just with the Wallabies preparation, they just looked a bit underdone in that Wallabies game, and the cohesion wasn't really there. I know we'll jump into it later, but they only had one warm-up game really against Fiji, and then obviously some players got sent back to play for their super teams, but I just think ideally it wasn't enough prep. I thought they could have squeezed in another couple games there. You had Samoa there who wasn't playing for the last couple of weeks. Even Scotland, they could have played them the week before Fiji. I'm sure they could have worked something out. I don't know if it's a costing or, but I thought they just needed a couple of extra games just to get them battle hardened. And then the last one for me is the Wallaroos. RA again, scheduling the Wallaroos game this Saturday at Ballymore, 2:00 on a Saturday when club rugby kicks off at 3 p.m. Like, come on, make it make sense. And it's not the first time. It happened with the Super W final. It's happened in Sydney. Like, what is going on? Who is organising these things? Because they need to be sacked, or questions need to be answered. So yeah, that's my no try. Sorry to be negative, but that's off my chest now.
No, that's all right, mate. I don't know if I'm a bit biased here because I'm on the RA payroll at the moment, but my try for this week is Rugby Australia. I was working the event, and mate, it was just good to be part of it and like seeing all the back end of it. And like even just the walkout, I think that was my favorite part of the game. Like the team's walking out, everything's dark, and they've got all the lasers going, they've got all the spotlight on the players and all that. It's just the sort of production of the actual event. That was my try and then off the back of NEMS, the fans. There's the fan zone they had here at the exhibition or convention center in at South Bank, where it looks like it was a bloody, I won't say Germany back in the days. Like it was just all red. Everyone's chanting Lions, 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 and it was truly great to see. So I'm sure they're going to have fan zone over in Melbourne and Sydney. So if you're Aussies, just going in for like a beer, then just experiencing it, because it's similar to like when we went to the Rugby World Cup in France, like all the different fan zones for each country. It's just good to experience other nations. Like when we ended up in one of the Chilean fan zones, and it was just crazy. So we ended up cheering for Chile instead of Samoa over in France. So if you're Wallabies or you're not a rugby fan, just make sure you get out and support either the Wallabies or the British and Irish Lions during this, because it really is it's crazy to see, once in a lifetime for those that don't live longer than 12 years. Anyways, another try. Merch. We've got merch. It'll be out now when we drop this. We've got some Rugby Heads merch. It's going to be on the sportingsocialclub.com. So head over there. We've got hats, tees, sweaters, and a hoodie as well. So make sure you support the show and get on to our merch. Another one, try. I don't know if it's a try or no try. He used to play for the Chiefs. He's been over in France ever since he left New Zealand. He's a Tongan captain. He was seen in the crowd wearing French gear around all the French supporters, supporting the Frenchies. Big Ben Tamefuna, mate, it was good to see him. He was even like singing all the French chants and stuff on TV. But yeah, that was my try, just getting around all the Frenchies. And apparently the Frenchies were like how they were over in Europe, just chanting, getting behind their team. And I think everyone counted the Frenchies out. We'll get into it later, but it was good to see a B or C team Frenchies actually putting up a fight against the All Blacks and almost getting it done. But yeah, once again, if you got a try or no try, put them in the comments. We'll start match previews with the Springboks and Georgia game. JT, did you catch the match, and who stood out for you?
Yeah, I caught the match. Georgia, really passionate side, and you've seen that from the outset. They came ready to go, and they scored the first try off a maul as well. So South Africa will be a bit disappointed with that. There's a couple of weeks now where against Italy they've gotten dominated in the maul. So I think that's one thing that they'll need to look out for. But I mentioned earlier the front row for South Africa. They really laid the platform. They won a lot of penalties off their scrum, and got them out of trouble. But yeah, I don't think South Africa will be too happy with that performance, especially in the first half. There was a lot of errors from them, and you didn't really notice the match. The intensity and the speed of the game really picked up once the bench for South Africa came on. And obviously that bench was Quagga Smith, guys like Snyman, Andre Pollard, Faf de Klerk, and Damien Willemse. So once they got on, they sort of broke away from Georgia there and got into a bit of a groove. But two players for me that stood out for South Africa. Siona, you mentioned one. I mentioned him last week as well. Grant Williams is just quick and nippy out of half there, and he made that break, set up that try when the Georgia defense they rushed up. So if you give him a little bit of space, he'll make the most of it. And then the other player for his third game in a row, I think he carved up was Edwil van der Merwe. Added another 2 tries to his tally, and he just keeps getting better and better every game. And I said it last week, but in the air, he's a freak. I don't know how, because he's not that tall of a winger, but he manages to win every contestable. So I think Razzie, he's got the boys there firing, and they're looking good for TRC.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome TRC. Names, you catch a game and any standouts?
Yeah, no, JT pretty much covered it all, but I'm just really impressed with their depth, the Springboks depth. Yeah. Georgia, they were competitive. They gave it all they could, and they're a decent side, right? But I was just that depth in the forward pack with the Springboks and the guys coming on. Like, to have that in the TRC, that's going to be crazy. I think there's probably only one team that's going to, go head to head with them, and I think that's the All Blacks. I just think Springboks have had a really good, preparation. They've played some good test matches. They're together, and and then obviously you've seen the under-20s just beat New Zealand as well. So, no, I just think that the Springboks are red hot form at the moment in terms of international.
Yeah, I watched the game. I don't know if you remember watching Longest Yard, but the whole reason that the prison guards wanted to play the prisoners was because they wanted to bash up some of the crap teams. And it seems like this might be the perfect, not that Georgia's crap, but this might be the perfect prep for them. They've got to just get some numbers on the board. They haven't looked their best, and they're going to roll into it like TRC off the back of 2 pretty good wins, really. So, yeah, I think they just do it right. We're going to talk about prep, I think, foreshadowing the Wallabies, but their prep into everything's perfect. And then, but not to take anything away from Georgia, I did some little bit of research, which is rare for this show. But mate, Georgia barely plays, right? And there's pretty impressive, second tier nation that's probably a first tier nation when you really think about it. And they barely play. Their next game's not till November against Japan, and they don't play much. Man, if Georgia played a fair few more international games, I'd start to worry about where they sit, and especially if you're Wales and you're sitting on the tipping edge of that Six Nations. Georgia really needs one more European team to be good enough, so it can be an 8 Nations or whatever, because they show, like JT said, they show some serious dominance in their forward pack sometimes against arguably one of the best forward packs of all time. It's exciting to see Georgia coming through, but South Africa scares me.
Yeah, mate. All the South African old guards, all the guys that have been there for ages, like Peter Steph du Toit was bloody unreal on the weekend, just throwing guys off. You think when they're that old that they're going to sort of on the way down, but they're still trekking in the dangerous trajectory for us Wallabies fans. And even RG Snyman off the bench, do you see his 2 line breaks? Yeah. Mate, he's this bloody freak. So shout out to Georgia going out to South Africa and actually putting it to him, except for in that second half when the Saffers just treat him like biscuit.
Something in the biltong over there. Something in the biltong.
Definitely something. But also something in the water over in, where were they? At the Tron. The Frenchies gave it to the All Blacks, especially in that first half. I think it was even 10 minutes to go. They were still in with a chance until the AB scored that last one. JT, thoughts on the game and your standouts?
Yeah, I think France, they can really take a lot of confidence out of that game. They showed up defensively. They were really impressive. They stood tall and brought that physicality to the All Blacks. And then the attack was led beautifully around the park by their halfback, Nolan Legorek. And he had a good game off the boot as well. But then in contrast, look, I thought the ABs, they would have been disappointed with that game, especially in the first half. Same as with South Africa, I mentioned earlier, like a lot of errors and just some poor discipline. There was a point there where you're seeing Artie try and grab chip in his own 22. So it was very un-All Black like. But then you sort of get the feeling that try just on halftime from Anton Leonard-Brown sort of was a turning point, and they went into the break, and sort of snapped out of it. France still had the opportunities in the second half, like you said, Sione. They were in it right until the end there, and then there was a try saver from Geordie Barrett as well, which saved the game for them. But look, the French, they lost the series 3-0. I think everyone sort of expected that, but there's still some positives I think they can take away from the series. They blooded a lot of new players, in particular Josh Brennan, who I thought he was really good at flanker there. And then obviously I mentioned the halfback, Nolan Legarec. So he was good. And then for the All Blacks as well, although disappointing in the 3 games, I still think there's a lot of positives for them to take out. You've seen they debutised Brody McAllister and Tava Nawai. Also, Duplessis Karifi had his first start. He got called in last minute off the bench for the injury to Luke Jacobson. And I also thought Ruben Love was terrific at fullback, one of their best players. He was just safe, done everything right, ran well, kicked well. So, there's a lot of good things happening before the TRC for them as well. So I think this could be one of the best TRCs coming up.
Yeah, true. And Nems, you catch game in thoughts?
Yeah, one player that stuck out for me was Karifi. Duplessis. I thought he took his opportunity, played well. Everyone sort of doubted him, how he would go at that level, at the international level. Obviously, he carves up with the Hurricanes, but he definitely silenced a lot of his critics on the weekend. Just his performance all round, just hustled for a guy that's, probably not 6 foot, no taller than 6 foot. He bloody... he fought for everything, and that's really handy to have going into a TRC. And like JT said, the All Blacks probably weren't at their best, but at the same time, I think we keep forgetting that All Blacks too blooded some new players as well. So a lot of these guys, I think it'll come handy for them TRC and November tour, which probably look at this as more of a unleashing some new players and getting them ready for TRC because, like JT said, this TRC is going to be shaping up to be a very competitive one.
I just think that whole series, like the highlight of it was seeing Jimmy Tavanawai get his debut. I think it's just cool because we've watched him, pretty closely through the NPC into the Super Rugby season. That he probably deserved it. I think he kind of did take it with both hands. Yeah. I'm not really going to comment on the French. I still think it's pretty. I know they control world rugby and they make heaps of money, but I think that they probably underestimate how important a tour like that is down to New Zealand. Why wouldn't you take your best side? Come in 3 years' time when you've got a World Cup. Those hard games in Christchurch, they're going to mean a lot to players, and you probably want your best players playing. So I don't know. It's kind of like hard to judge where the All Blacks are at after that because I think it's hard sometimes to not play against the greatest side. You kind of sometimes maybe play to their level. So yeah, look, but Jimmy Tavanawai, mate, awesome to see him make his debut in this series, and I hope he gets some minutes in the rugby championship.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Jimmy, and like he's picked at 12, or he played 12. They've had Quinn Tupaia there starting, and Geordie Barrett came off the bench as well. Who would you put at 12 in the centre combo for the All Blacks when they're playing that big one at Eden Park? Are you putting Geordie Barrett, or are you moving Geordie Barrett somewhere else? Because when he came up, he's definitely their best player this whole series.
I think Geordie has to go 12. 12? And I think 13, you're tossing up between Leonard Brown and, what's the Hurricanes guy's name?
Proctor. Oh, I forgot. Proctor had a real good series as well.
Yeah, I forgot him.
Yeah, so, they've got a lot of depth in that position because obviously you said Quinn Tupaia as well. Yeah. And then Tavanawai. So, and then, you've got Rico, who's been the outside centre for the last few years as well. I don't think he'll be there. I think he'll be on the wing. But, I think they've got a lot of depth at 13.
I think it's the first time in a long time you probably don't know what the All Blacks side's going to necessarily be. I think for a long time you can kind of almost guess it pretty easily, but I think probably first time, for as much as they are probably in a rebuilding phase, which is weird for you to say about an All Black side because they're still going to dominate. But yeah, I don't think you really know who they're going to pick, and especially with Razor at the helm, he's nuts.
And last one, selection-wise for the All Blacks against the Saffers at Eden Park. Who are you putting as the back row? Because du Plessis, like Nem said, he was probably one of the best on the field against the Frenchies. Artie played well. Even when Papali'i came on, they're all open sides playing in the back row in that last 10, 15 minutes. They looked well. Are you going to put all them or are you going to go size? Because they got Peter Steph Dutoy. They're all obviously going to have a big pack, the South Africans. Who are you putting as that back row for the All Blacks?
You'd have to have Artie in there. Who's the Chiefs?
Tupou.
Like, you just need some size against the Springboks. Look, like I said, Griffey, awesome. Maybe bring him off the bench, but I just think size-wise, and, we'll probably get abused for saying size-wise. It's not the size of the man, but anyway, I just think they need some big men, some big figures out there. And you're going to need guys like Tupou, Savia, because you're going to need your big forward pack against South Africans, as we've seen.
I think we're gone of the day of the small kind of seven starting in a test. I think they're great off the bench when the game's kind of slowing down or, people start to get tired. But I think you need bodies, especially against the Saffers.
All right. Okay. Interesting. All right. If you're watching and you got some thoughts, put them down in the comments. But yeah, that'd be a tasty one if you're putting du Plessis off the bench, him and Quagga Smith going at it, coming off the bench there. That would be a good one at Eden Park. Look at us hyping it up. Sky Sports Stand, get on us, sponsored by Bud. And then lastly, Lions, Wallabies. Awesome game to watch, even though our Wallabies lost. JC, thoughts on the game and your standouts?
Yeah, great game, great atmosphere. I mentioned earlier about the preparations for the Wallabies. Just at times they lacked a little bit of polish in attack. They had balls going to ground and sort of forwards in each other's way. So, I thought that really hurt them. But in saying that, I thought the Lions, their line speed all throughout the 80 minutes was great, and it was led by Tom Curry. You always seen once the Wallabies pass from halfback, the Lions are right in their face, and it forced a few errors too from the Wallabies. But look, I just thought for the Lions with the forward pack going so well, Finn Russell and Jamie Gibson Park were able to sort of keep the Wallabies back three on their toes with their kicking game and sort of play off that forward pack. Ellis Genge again, I thought he was good, but I thought actually Taj Furlong, the tight head, had a good game.
Mate, ball playing as well.
He's known for his scrummaging, but mate, some of the ball handling that he had, the passes out the back, the tip-ons, he even threw like a 20-meter cutout ball to his winger. So I thought he had a really good game. And that's looking scary for the Wallabies come game two. But look, I thought for the Wallabies, when they made changes, guys like Tate McDermott, when he came on, he really sped the game up and it really put the Lions under pressure. So look, for the second game, I think Tate needs to start. I know people will have their opinions, but that's what I think. People like him coming off the bench, but I just think you can't afford to give Lions a good start like they did. They were ahead 10-0 in the first 10 minutes. Like if Wallabies want to be a real threat, they need to start well. So they need their best team out on that park straight away. And then other changes as well. Obviously, I just thought the boys needed to be a bit bigger in the forward pack. So guys like Skelton, Valentino, Gleeson, and another one is Luke Hahn. Like these guys need to come into the team as soon as possible. I know some might be injured, but if they're fit and raring to go, I think they need to be in there somewhere.
Before we move on to NEMS, you got any positives for the Wallabies, mate? Any players that you thought did well?
Oh, mate.
Oh, is that a no?
Yeah. Nah, that's a no.
All right. Now, NEMS, thoughts and standouts.
I think the positive thing for the Wallabies was that second half. That's on the back of those interchanges that came on. Guys like Tate McDermott, sparking. I think it'd probably it'd be good to see him start. I thought Liner, held his own. Like it is a tough arena to have your sort of starting test debut against the Lions, and I just thought he held his own, got back up, wasn't afraid to have a go. I thought his forwards probably let him down a little bit, like they're just getting that clean ball, those patches there in scrums. Men, we were obviously speaking to chat group about it during the game. They just were clueless in some parts when the attack was on in the first half. It was very un-Wallaby like. They were going one face left, one face right, one face left. Like, hey, you're playing a team that loves that stuff. Get it away. I don't think the forwards, I don't think the backs got, clean, got enough ball. And when they did, it was like on the back of a lot of, uncanny stuff. And Soali'i, I didn't think, we saw the best of him. I thought Wright, even Tom Wright, he's very confident when he plays. I just thought he was a bit, he just didn't know what he was. Sometimes he was, on sitting on the fence with some of his options. I just think when he makes a decision and goes with it, he's electrifying. I just think there was patches there where he thought he wanted to kick it, but then ran it. And when he wanted to run it, he wanted to kick it. We need guys like that to be, when he's at his best, he's one of the best fullbacks in the world. So a lot of positives though to take out for this test, knowing that they can keep, the Lions at bay. But on the flip side, we spoke about it at the start of the week, last week. I said there's a set piece. The Lions is going to be one up front, my boy Genji, I thought he played really well, and Finn Russell, I've been watching him for years, right, and played against him a few times. The way he plays, and that's why they call him the Maverick over there, because he just looks, when he plays rugby, it's like as if it's easy, right? And when he was making his decisions, his pinpoint accuracy, I thought he had a blinder, and Jane Gibson Park as well. It's going to be a hard for the Wallabies to this week, I think. But like JT said, they need to bring size in, bring skeleton in. I'd be getting Luke Gunn out of this test match tomorrow, this game tomorrow, and bring him in, 100%. Across town. Like, mate, got your 5K. Come on, let's go to the Wallabies. You got your kit. Yeah. Because he needs to come off the bench, mate. That's what they lack. They lack size, and I get it. And this is where we get to see Super Rugby is cool. It's good and all, but you need size. You can get away with not being big, but when you play against these bigger teams, you need size. And I just think they got bullied up front. But yeah, I think it's going to be I think there is going to be a few changes. There needs to be. Yeah. But I would be sticking with Liner at 10. I just think give him, first one there, his first game. He's a sort of player you can't bring him on and then drop him. Like, if you're going to bring him on, play him for the 3 tests. You know what I mean? Particularly at 5'8", I just think you need to start him and maybe bring on Tate McDermott. That way they've got that combination going. I don't think Liner was a problem on the weekend. I don't think it was a problem. I think things around him were. So if they can change that, and they can allow Liner to make those decisions, give him clean ball, we'll see a different player this weekend.
Okay. We'll get that shortly, but after Alex's little, what are your thoughts, Alex, and any standouts?
I'll finish on a positive, because there was a lot of positives coming out of the game. But look, I'll just start with, I don't know if you guys know, but watching the coverage, I don't know if you know, but Liner's dad played for the Wallabies. That's what they kept telling us every 10 seconds.
Be proud of
I don't know what the obsession with this nepotism stuff, like, mate, let the kid play. Like, put all this pressure on him. And look, I don't think he really succumbed to the pressure, but like, we don't need to do 8 stories on what his dad played for the Wallabies. It's cool, but I think it takes away from, a bit of the pre-game stuff. Also, SBW saying that Jake Gordon and Liner have played together at club level really shows you how much rugby Sonny Bill's been watching. But anyway, it's just maybe Gallen got to him too much. But I think JT's right. There's probably not enough. There's probably not enough games pre-tour, and I think when there's not enough games, you pick combinations, and you can see that's what the Lions did. That Lions, had the middle was all Scottish middle. They just went with that. When maybe that wasn't the two. Maybe they weren't the best two players in a position, but together they're the best combo. Same with like the forward pack, just as the pods in their forward pack were all different combos with, sprinkling here and there, but it made sense. I feel like that's probably what we lacked a bit. And that first half really showed. Sometimes when you watch a game, you can kind of go, oh, this is the game plan. And when they put that Wallabies side out, I was like, oh, okay, we might be trying to run the ball. For the first 20 minutes, we didn't have the ball for the first 20, but for the next 20, we just tried to run it up the middle. And I just don't get why that was, and it was going nowhere. It just seemed a bit directionless in attack. And I think it goes, we've said it in nauseum, but yeah, they need some size. We need skeleton. Definitely need some size. I think that probably had a pretty good game was Mick Wright. Ben O'Keefe was a bit inconsistent with like both sides when it came to the ruck. Like it seemed like he was just giving away pilfers and penalties for pilfers to start off, and then just decided I've given away too many. I'm not giving away them now for both sides. And I think that really kills the game. It just kind of really inconsistent. Even those two tries that were disallowed, they weren't tries. They spent hours trying to work out. I feel like after watching a season of Super Rugby, it just seems so much slower, the international game, especially when you are playing against the Northern Hemisphere side, but it just seems so slow, and it's just not – that's when the product's not that great. And I think that it needs to be – the Wallabies needed to have played a quicker game. But, look, I think Jorgensen had a blinder. I think once he got into it, like that try, that's pretty much it was a bomb, but, he's not a big guy to rip it off Freeman, score that try. That gave me a lot of hope. And I think that if they play like they did in the second half, I think they've got a good chance, but they need some size. They can't, if their game plan is to run it up the middle to play expansive, then they need some bigger guys because we're just getting dominated. But I think I said in the group chat, I think probably another guy that we probably doesn't get spoken about enough, and it comes down to it. The scrum was really solid, way more solid than I thought it was going to be. We even got a fair few penalties, but Alan Alatoa, man, I think that game showed how much we missed him in that World Cup. You can even see him in the huddles, like he's talking post game. He's obviously a leader, but he's pretty good, really good around the park. Lock down that scrum against a pretty dominant front row. I think there's a lot of negatives that come out of it. And I think it's because they looked pretty scrappy in the first 40, but I think if they stick with the combinations in the back line, I think that there's a lot of positives there. Also too, just like to say you can't hit someone in the end and not be a yellow card. So I hope there's some consistency. Look, all I care about in footy is I hate referees either way, and I fucking hate all referees. And if we didn't hate referees, we wouldn't that'd be the best thing ever if it would be AI refs. But if refs are going to be shit, at least be consistently shit or consistent on the rule. And it was so inconsistent. That was yellow. Those two things were yellow cards in Super Rugby all season. So it's just be consistent more than anything. And I think it was both sides.
I think one of the drill players did exactly the same thing and got 8 weeks. So might with that tackle in the air, I think he's got something similar. Got 6 to 8 weeks.
Just for the refs listening, I know Nems always shows love to the refs. So Alex is just one of those guys that wants to defund the police. He's one of those guys. So just don't worry about that, mate. Don't worry about that ref hate. But I want to get into some selections for next game. Nems, you're back. I didn't think the wingers. We didn't win the aerial battle at all. Like Joseph wasn't really. We're putting up box kicks, but it wasn't for Joseph. Other than that one little chip that was sort of like an aimless chip, and there was no space behind there. But do you think he should be moving to the wing so he is up in that aerial battle, or at fullback when they put up the ball so that he's the one going up? Because we lost it. We lost the aerial battle on the weekend. Are you making those changes for the back three?
I actually don't mind the back three. I thought they did all right. Like, Jorgensen's right. Like, we all know what Tom Wright can do. I just think that it was the first game. I think they'll be all right second game. Harry Potter, the one thing with Harry, right, he's a workhorse. Like, he might not do anything spectacular. He might not do anything flashy. I've played alongside him. He just does the small things right. You know what I mean? Like, he just does the things that you don't see. And I wouldn't change the back three. I think the back three is fine. I think they need that combination going into the second test. I would. There'll be debate. The only thing I'd probably change is starting 9. Probably bring Tate in. But I just don't think the back's got enough ball for us to be like, like the forwards made it hard for them. And when they did get the ball, it wasn't clean ball. Ikitau, when they ran up the guts, like with Sorliti, they ran some pretty good lines. I just think they weren't exposed. Like, I didn't give them clean enough ball for us to be like, I didn't think they didn't play bad. I thought they played all right. It's just the forwards. It all starts up front, right? As you guys are forwards.
Yeah.
If your forwards don't give backs good balls, then, and I think that's where it all starts. But, yeah, I wouldn't change the back three.
And, JT, you're a hooker. We lost 3 lineouts, like pretty key lineouts, especially in that first half. Are you making changes to our type 5?
At this stage, I'll keep the hooker there. I'll keep Fazler there, but I'll probably bring in Skelton into locks just to throw up that scrum. I know the scrum was good, but just having that bigger body in the scrum as well. But yeah, if it was the type 5, I think Skelton will probably be the only change. I don't know if Valentini and Gleeson are fit, as in are they injured or not? Because I'd probably have them as well in there at 6 and 8, but. Yeah, look, there's some work ons there, and then we spoke about Lucan as well. So I'm big on big forwards having size. So I think if we can get size and we can win the collision, and then we can have quick ball off that for the back. So yeah, that's my changes.
All right, guys. If you got any your selection problems or just what you think, put them down in the comments. Now, a quick little preview and our margin predictions. Starting off with the game tonight. First Nations and Pacifica versus the Lions. It is a lot of Lions ring-ins because they're obviously saving a lot of their players for this coming weekend. JT, match predictions and your margin prediction as well.
Yeah, so look, Lions, they got a good side. They got Henry Pollock, Josh Van der Fleer there, Finn Smith at 10, and Owen Farrell's actually captaining the side at 12. So, the Lions are still a formidable team. But I think it's a chance for guys like Taniela Tupou and Philip Undangunu, and then obviously Lucan again to really stand up in this game. And I've got the Lions to win, but 1-12. I think it'll be a little bit closer than the Australia New Zealand game, but we'll see how it goes.
And Nems, you going with that, or are you going to be an upset? You back in the upset?
No, I agree with JT. I think with Owen Farrell there, game over. Like. He demands excellence, and I'm pretty sure guys like Pollock and them will be, playing under him. I think he'll take that Lions team, midweek team, to another level. I was down at training. I was watching them train the First Nations and Pacifica team, and talking with a few of the guys that are involved in the Australian New Zealand setup, and they were saying that this week is like. Miles apart in terms of how serious the Australian New Zealand team were. Like they were trying to be a team that's been together for months, right, as opposed to 2 days. Whereas they were saying, the environment was laid back. Watching them train, they were looking pretty sharp, just throwing the ball around. I think it's going to be a big scoreline. I think 13 plus, but I just think. I'd say 13 plus the Lions, but I just think this team is going to entertain us this week, tomorrow night or tonight.
Yeah.
They're going to throw the ball around. They got KB there, and they're just going to. I just think it's going to be it'll be a Jura-esque sort of game.
Yeah, right.
Where quick taps from everywhere, and showcase First Nations mob. and the Pacifica style of rugby. So,
all right, there goes your invite to come to training next time they put it on.
No, I went Thursday, so I thought I'd make sure it's there.
Come to training. Yeah, these guys are going to get sassed.
No, I mean, I take that back. It's going to be a close game. 1-12.
Nah, I see what you mean. Like they're enjoying training. They're definitely enjoying the food. I got some of the snaps, and Freeney's cousin, the Wallabies dietitian's definitely not on that camp. So they're enjoying a lot of the food. Onside, your match predictions? Are we going with the other boys?
Yeah, as a history of growing up in Sydney and playing against the Batuta Advocate, it was pretty accurate, but playing rugby league against the Marys, First Nations, Islander sides, and La Perouse back in the day could be pretty scary when they turn it on. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to probably be.
Take it easy with that.
I think you say that. You say it's a midweek Lions tour side. I mean, they've got Jack Morgan, Vanderfleet, and Pollock in the back row. Like that could have almost been the Lions test back row. In fact, I still think Jack Morgan should be in that team somewhere. But
yeah, I agree.
I think that it's going to be. I think weather's going to play a massive part if they shut the roof or whatever. If I don't know what the weather's like down there, if it's dewy, but
it's meant to rain tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I think they need to shut the roof so they can throw the ball around, because I don't think that back row is going to really give you much space to throw the ball around. So I think 13 plus to the Lions, unfortunately.
All right, so we're going to go with Nems and Alex on this one, and we're going to lock in the Lions 13 plus. But if you're going to be backing with me, mate, I'm going First Nations and Pacifica 1-12, mate. Charlie Gamble is going to have another big one.
Rugby Australia must be paying you really well, eh?
I'm just backing the boys. I'm just backing the boys, mate. So yeah, I don't know if my Spidey's going off. So yeah, thank you, Tony.
Sione in the chat and Sione on the podcast is two different people.
Make sure we cut that part out.
Phil Ward's watching this, so he'll be like keeping tabs on all his employees.
We're going to move it along here. So Wallabies, Lions, match predictions and margin, JT?
Look, I think both teams are going to go up a gear. I think the Lions have got a couple more gears to go up.
Yeah, true.
Wallabies, we don't know the squad, the team that they've selected for at the moment for game 2, but I think if it's anything like last week, I think it'll be Lions 13 plus, because I think they're just going to get better as the games go on. Look, I'm happy to be wrong. I'm happy to be proven wrong. I want the Wallabies to win, but just from watching and seeing what I'm seeing, I think it's going to be Lions 13 plus.
All right, Nems.
If the Wallabies don't bring in size, like if Skelton and all these guys aren't playing,
Skelton's in. Trust me,
he's in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm actually going to go here. Wait, I'm catching up with some of the Lions boys. I wanted to say something.
Hey, mate.
I'm catching up with Genji on Wednesday. So,
he doesn't watch this.
No, they do watch this. Actually, they actually watch this, and they always wait. So, and Ollie Chesham.
I'll cut this part out then.
No, I'm going to go British Lions close game. It's going to be one. They're going to win by 2. It's going to be very close.
Meow. And Alex.
Anyway, between the two Fijian psyops on the podcast, Dems has too many mates from the Lions. The Wallabies going to win 1-12.
Yes.
They're going to pick a big pack. It's going to be a cracker game at the MCG. I'm going to be live ad-free in front of the game. If Nems has any time to spare when he's not if he's not hanging out with Genge and Chesham, then yeah, it'd be good to see him as well. My former teammate, 4th grade teammate. But yeah, look, I think that man, I just think if they pick the right side, then there's a lot more to lose for this. Where they might be going for 3-0 the Lions, but it's not must win. This is must win, and I'm hoping it's a packed out. The capital, the sporting capital of Australia. See if they can pack out the MCG. But Wallabies 1-12, and I think man of the match will be Angus Bell when he starts for the Wallabies, because he needs to start.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm going with Alex here. So that's pretty much draw, but we're going to, because we're on home soil, we've got to pay homage to our home soil. So we're going to lock in the Wallabies 1-12 on this one. And then what else we got here? And the last game of the multi, Wallaroos versus Wales here in Brisbane. JT, our expert in women's rugby. How do you think this one's going to go?
Look, the Wallabies, the Wallaroos, we've all known that we've covered that they've lost Pessi Palu and Charlotte Caslick, but I don't think that'll hinder their performance on the weekend. I've got them winning 13+. If anyone's been following along with the women's Six Nations, the Welsh women, they didn't win a game. And they're sort of struggling not only in the men but the women's as well. So the Wallabies, I think, the Wallaroos will be a lot more desperate. This is their last couple of games with selection on the line for World Cup. Obviously, I mentioned those injuries, so it's a chance for some of their girls to stand up and try and get that last-minute spot. So I think Wallaroos 13+.
All right, Nems, we're all backing our girls.
Palu's out, so I'm going Wales.
Oh, mate, you're just picking fights with everyone.
Wales did beat us last year, didn't they?
They won and lost one.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, so Wales 1-12.
Oh, wow. Well, here's a real onside. Who you backing, Nems or JT here?
Yeah, I think Kazlick's obviously going to be a big miss for him. So I think that that's still the Wallaroos 13+ by miles. I don't think Nems is going to get a tip right this week. I actually don't know if I want to have a beer with him after he performs tonight. I think he's got a bit of. He's probably liked being the most hated bloke on TikTok in the last week, so he's trying to get more clips, which I can't take a piss out of him for that. So well done, Nems. But Wallaroos 13+.
So yeah, we'll lock in the Wallaroos 13+. Make sure you bet responsibly. And that was the show, guys. Once again, a lot of the
Any questions?
No, once again, some questions. There was long ones, but we'll save them for after the Lion series. There was like pick our team of the whatever, but we'll leave them for later. And if you got any shorter questions that we could answer, make sure you put them down in the comments. Shout outs. JT, give us a shout out.
Just a shout out to my old club here, Jeeps Rugby. We got our 15-year Premiership Colt reunion. Not this weekend, next weekend. So we were led captain by the great Nick Frisbee at halfback there. Some good players on the wing as well. Chrissy Krundrani, your brother Nems, and Matty Garland. We had a pretty stacked side, and our reunion's coming up. So just shout out to all those Colts boys from 2010 at Jeeps Rugby.
Nice, Nems.
My shout out is 2 shout outs. So to the New Zealand public. I'm not apologising, but please calm down. I'm shouting out to you. It's just banter. So I still love you. I lived 3 years there, so it's funny. Someone told me don't ever come back to New Zealand, bro. So anyway, shout out to all our New Zealand viewers, and the people that watch this show. Got nothing but love for you guys. You know it's all banter, or it's not. And the other one is shout out to Taniala Rakuro. He's with the Taranaki. He played club rugby in Taranaki and scored 5 tries on debut. And these were like 50-meter tries, some of them. So shout out to the motopai, as we say, and or motorcycle, the motorbike. So shout out to him, and all the best to him in the ITM or NPC comp.
Yeah, nice. Onside, your shout out.
Quick shout out to all those thousands of Rebels fans that were really sad when they got kicked out of the comp. It'd be nice to see you guys actually turn up to some games for the first time. So looking forward to a packed Marvel Stadium and a packed MCG. But quick shout out to all the people in Melbourne. Smash and grab mission for me this weekend. But yeah, looking forward to another game, and all the Lions fans, all the great nomads. I've never seen more red shirts and grey hair in my life, and just living their best life, all blind drunk, And then my second shout out is to another city. It's close to my heart, is Brisbane. Brisbane just does that, and I think it's with the Caxton so close. They just do that home game so much better than we do in Sydney. And it's probably the only thing that Brisbane does better than Sydney. But like just the whole atmosphere, even when I was up there for the Reds game, is just, you know, it's like second to none. The walk from Caxton Street down to the ground, and you could just tell on the TV it was getting FOMO not being there, and all the Instagram posts coming through. But yeah, even shout out to Lions fans, but also just shout out to the Wallabies fans getting around it, because it did wasn't a red, but there's plenty of gold out there. So yeah, quick shout out to Brisbane City.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. My shout out also to people in Melbourne. Get out there, snap up all the tickets, sell it out. It really is awesome atmosphere. Get behind our boys, and shout out to Rugby Australia, putting an awesome show once again. So yeah,
and also the rugby's not over in Brisbane. The Wallaroos are playing this weekend, so get out there.
Oh yeah.
Make sure you skip your club rugby game this week and head over to Ballymore, and I'll shout you out.
I get a club rugby.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, guys, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll see you next week, and cop some merch. Let's go.
Later.